Welcome everybody to this press conference, tuning up to Ultravasan 2016. We will take this in English since we have many international runners here and some media from abroad. And we will start up this press conference with the organization for the Total Vasaloppet has got a new president, and she will take a few words. We welcome Isabellah Frick.
Thank you so much. I want to say a warmly welcome to all of you to Mora and the third Ultravasan 2016. My name is Isabellah Frick, and I'm the CEO for the organization working with Vasaloppet both during summer and winter. Vasaloppet is the world's biggest organizer of recreational races all year around. Vasaloppet's winter week with its cross-country skiing and the summer week with mountain bike, cycling and running attract a total of almost 100,000 registered participants every year. Since the beginning in 1922, over 1 million participants have passed under the classic Finnish portal here in Mora. Vasaloppet is a non-profit making organization owned by IFK Mora and Sälens IF, an engine for public health and organizational activities in the footsteps of our forefathers for the victories of tomorrow. Tomorrow, there will be almost 1,000 people running from Sälen to Mora in Ultravasan 90K, and about 800 from Oxberg to Mora at Ultravasan 45K. Together with the people at Vasastafetten, there will be approximately 7,000 runners in the arena of Vasaloppet during the day tomorrow. A tough challenge for each one with their own goal. Some of you wants a good time. Some wants to beat the guy or girl standing beside you at the starting arena in Sälen or Oxberg tomorrow morning. But for almost everyone, it's a challenge to beat the distance. Vasaloppet is a big engine for public health, as I said before. That's one of our biggest goals in the organization, which I'm very proud of. Tomorrow, I'm looking forward to see the strong efforts of all of you struggling to be the first guy and girl over the finish line. But I'm also looking forward to see the participants coming to Mora late in the evening. We have created a unique event in Ultravasan. We give people the opportunity to run the classic distance between Sälen and Mora and to really challenge themselves. We hope for a good race tomorrow. Good luck to you all.
Yeah, we continue before we go to the athletes who want to take some questions to the elite coordinator, Peter Fredriksson. How could you get this fantastic field that's coming here, elite field?
First of all, the first year, 2 years ago, we had the opportunity to have amazing runners already first year. For example, Holly Rush, who is not here this year. We had Steve Way coming back now for the third edition on the second position. And a lot of other good runners, which we met in the ultra running community when we were on the World Championships and other great races around the world. And of course also, when we developed the race the first year, all runners, hopefully satisfied with the organization, with the course, with everything around, will be ambassadors and spread the good words of the race. And we have worked continuously to develop the race, not only in Sweden, but also through elite runners on the 90 and the 45K. For example, the third largest country this year on the Ultravasan 90 is actually Great Britain. The second largest country on 45 is South Korea, which is quite amazing, I would say.
That's really amazing. Yeah, I know they're going to have a really challenging day, and you have done some changes from last year regarding the course, the 90K course. Can you tell us about it?
The main change for the course this year is actually after the checkpoint in Mångsbodarna. We are changing the course for between 24 up to 28K. Gives it more technical, more challenging. It's a single trail instead of a wide dirt road. So the technical section will be longer this year. And of course, I think the race also challenged the runners, so the most all-round runners will be the winner in the men's and the women's race on the 90K.
How does it look out in the course? Is it wet or is it dry there?
I would say we have a really nice summer this year, and even if it comes some rain today, it's really dry. It looks very promising. The course is excellent this year.
And what do you say about who is going to win this race in the men's section?
That's a really hard question this year. I would say the first 2 years, top 3 podium was quite easy to expect. This year, it's very difficult to expect the top 10. We have super strong runners in the men's race for the 90K. So it's really, really hard to say who will be on the podium tomorrow. I think it will be a completely different race from the other years. I think it will be a really tight race this year with a lot of good runners.
Do you see the same situation in the women's race?
Absolutely. The women's race is stronger than ever this year, and I also expect to really see very interesting race. Runners with different skills, different backgrounds meeting each other in the trail tomorrow. So that will be really, really amazing to see.
We have invited some of the top athletes here, and you're gonna take some questions to them, and then feel free to take questions to Peter afterwards.
Okay, we start with women's field. I would like to invite Sarah Bard from US, Isabellah Andersson from Sweden, and Jasmin, Nunige, the winner from last year from Switzerland. I would also like to add is Ida Nilsson for the 45K distance for the podium also. First of all, as I said, it's an honor as the race director for the 90K to have you here. And absolutely, I would like to start with the winner from last year, Jasmin. First of all, ask some words about last year's race, why you're coming back, and finally, what is your plans for tomorrow?
Okay, yeah, it's me to thank you to be here again, because last year it was an amazing race and a really good organization, and I love the country, I love the track, and when you can win a race like this, it's in your mind for every time, and I'm happy to be back and to be here. It's for me, it's a victory, and I'm looking forward tomorrow, and I'm just happy to run again.
As you've been in the first into the finish line to meet the Krans Mas with the leaf, tell the other ladies a little bit about your feeling when you're going through the church, seeing the finish line.
Yes, it's last year also the whole track in the beginning, it was so amazing with the sun and all the nature, and then at the end it was a little bit more difficult. The last 20 kilometers was a hard work, and then to see the finish line and see all these people and be the first woman to go to the finish, that's really amazing, and that's created in my mind, and I will always remember this.
Yeah. One final question. Last year, the weather was really hot during the day. We will see another type of weather, maybe a little bit rain showers in the morning, and it's going to be much better weather in the afternoon, but it seems to be cloudy and approximately 15, 16 degrees during the race for the elite. What do you think about that?
Yes, I think for running it will be perfect, this temperature, and also we saw the track yesterday and today, this morning, it was in a perfect, and so I think it will be a fast race tomorrow.
Okay, let's move on to Sarah Bard from the US. Sarah, I would say quite a newcomer in the ultras, but still you have some amazing records. You were 4th in the last year World Championships in Winschoten in Holland. You were number 4 in Comrades Marathon this year in South Africa, and you have been winning the AFK 50 miles in the US. Tell me a little bit about your background coming into ultras and why you're here.
I was a road marathoner for several years, about 8 to 10, and was just looking for something different and tried a 50-miler for the first time about 2 years ago, and loved it. And that race, while I didn't know it at the time, was a qualifier for the US 100K team. So I got to run in that race, and it's just been a really wonderful experience to come to these races, make friends. I think that's the biggest thing, is the community is very close and friendly, and you see that before race, after race, but also within the race. So my background is really in faster road type races. And I think that this is a great, I've been looking to sort of branch out into trail, but do it carefully, and it seems like this is a great opportunity on this course. It's fast, but it's also a trail.
Exactly, we know your skill in the ultra road races. You have also been in the track for 2 days now. You ran the first technical section yesterday, and you ran the last 9K today. What about the impression of the trail so far? Will it suit you? Will you be prepared for the technical sections? Is it too easy, too hard?
I don't know if it will be too easy. But actually, one of the first races I ran as an ultra started out, had a very technical or somewhat technical section, depending on what kind of ultra runner you are, in the beginning, and then opened up very similarly to this race. So I think in many ways it's good to have that challenge, and I'm thankful that it's in the beginning, when my mind will still be fresh and my legs as well. I think that's helpful. I think it also will be helpful to make sure that I don't go out too fast or too hard, and stay, thoughtful through those first 28K.
Okay, it will be really interesting to see you tomorrow along the trail tomorrow. Okay, let's move on to Isabellah. Isabellah, we know her from, we Swedes know you from the marathon distance. You have been done amazing performance over the years for the Swedish national team, for Hässelby SK, all over the world for marathons. This year, you didn't succeed for the Olympics, the qualification for the Olympics. You took a decision to participate in Ultravasan 90, and we are very happy to have you here for the race tomorrow. I also know that you have been coming here really well prepared. You know the track. You have been training here for the last week. Tell you a little bit about the background, why you want to try the ultra distance just now.
It has always been a goal to run ultra sometime in the future. And this year was like a good time, because I didn't qualify for the Olympics, as you said. So I decided, why not try Vasa? And it's home. I don't need to travel far. I only need maybe to travel 4 hours. And then, try the race. It's very challenging from what I'm used to. I came to Sälen last week on Sunday, and I've been jogging the fast, toughest course, and I was very shocked when I come and get that it's not what I'm used to. I thought it was a grus. Oh, what is grus now?
Dirt road.
Yeah, but it was a stigar and a lot of stones and a lot of roots. So I was like, why should I run this? But anyway, it's good that it's a challenge. I don't expect, I don't have any pressure. I think I have everything to win. Like, it doesn't matter how I run, I'm going to, win everything. You understand what I mean? I don't mean like win the race, but I don't have anything to lose.
I think that's a good first standpoint for the race, because ultra is a lot taking the day as it comes, I would say, and see what it leads in the end. So that's I think that's a good thing to start, a good tactic to start with. Secondly, we have some rumors, I have heard it from the past. You have some orienteering background. As I'm orienteer by myself, I want to hear about your orienteering background, because some of the media I ran far said she has an orienteering background, she's skilled in the trails. So continue with that story, please.
Yeah, sure. I have been doing orienteering, But it's quite a long time since I was in the forest. Maybe, 11 years ago. The last time I was, 2006 was the last time I was in the forest. So I really can't say that I'm an I do orienteering just now. But I have been doing orienteering, and I love orienteering, like I think how it's going to be with ultra running also.
Okay, I see your passion for running, and that will bring you a long way tomorrow. So good luck for the race tomorrow.
I hope so. Thank you very much, and thank you for having me here.
Okay, let's go on to... Let's go to Ida Nilsson. She will be running 45K this year on Ultravasan 45K. She was the second position just after Jasmin Nunige. It was a really tight battle for the win on the 90K last year. And Ida, you were really, really close into the finish. This year you have a really extraordinary race calendar, so you plan to do the 45K instead. But 1 year ago, when you were actually almost in a similar situation as Isabellah, you came from the track and field, shorter distances and so on into ultra and tested the 90K. And from last year until now, what you have done is quite amazing career in ultra running. Tell me a little bit what has been happening since last year, and why actually you were running Ultravasan 90 last year, how it started.
Last year I hadn't really done anything long. Like I didn't even come from the marathon, because I ran even shorter distances on the track, and then I had a huge break for 4 years when I didn't run at all. And when I came back, I wanted to try new things, but so I did the mountain marathon up in Åre before, and that was my longest, and I was like, okay, 42K, it's long. And I came here, and for me, it was totally out of my mind, to run 90K, you know, when you drive for 90K, it takes forever, and I wasn't sure. I was like, oh, maybe I can't even do it. Maybe I just break down and have to start walking, or it was, But then when I was like, oh, maybe it's something that interests me with the challenge, so... I did it, and I realized of course it's tough, but it's doable. You can just keep going, and you keep going until the finish is. And I started to get more interested in doing mountain races and ultras, so I've done more longer things this year, and I have a little bit too many long races, so I wish I could do the 90K this year. But I jumped down to the 45K. It will be good enough.
I think it's a wise decision. You have a really tight race schedule, and also this picture that you see on Ida, that was from the win in a big race in Ireland, Canary Island, La Palma, which is Transvulcania. It's a really, really hard race. You were taking the lead from the beginning, and you just kept rolling all the way into the finish. Really impressive win. And then you won also the Chamonix Marathon in end of June, maybe. Also another impressive win, and you are also selected for the national team, Swedish national team, for the World Championships in Ultra Trail in Portugal in the end of October. So it's a tight schedule. We are happy to have you here. Okay, thanks, girls. Next for the men. Okay, let's move on to the men's. And we invite Steve Way, Geoff Burns, Jonas Buud, and Roman Ryapolov. Steve, keep the hands off the horses. Okay, we started the same way. We start with I would say, last year winner, and also the first time winner, the double winner, Jonas Buud, and I would say before we move into tomorrow, we start with the last year's race, and of course we can discuss the first year, but the last year's race. We know this year the course is 5 minutes slower, but so the winning time this year, it's okay if it will be 5:50, which is quite similar with 5:45. But 5:45, it's not almost countable that time. So tell me a little bit about your race last year and what really happened in the forest.
Yeah.
When did you get on the bus?
Don't tell you. Yeah, the race last year was my best race I ever done. I think it was better than my race at the World Championship 2 weeks later. And it was. We had a nice pace from the start and just increased the speed during the end. So it was a really, really good race.
You kept going all the way, and you almost increased the speed when you were heading into the finish in the end, even if you was 50 minutes before Max King, like 20k to go. So, but you still kept on moving really fast into the finish line in Mora. And of course, tell the guys also you about the feeling to win Ultravasan, to get the reef from the Kranskulla, which is standing here, that you will meet her, the winner, on tomorrow, approximately 11 o'clock, plus minus some minutes. We'll meet Hanna at the finish to get the reef. Tell a little bit about the feeling, especially when it's your hometown and you're familiar with the race.
Yes, I had my problem during the pre-season last year with my stress fractures. I didn't compete almost anything at all at the spring. I made my first race in the end of June, and then I just had full focus to Ultravasan. So of course it was really nice to do that race I did last year, and especially the finish. To be first in Mora is always a pleasure, so that's really nice.
When we talk about first in Mora, and then you're coming back to the stress fracture and slight injuries problems last year. We have been reading in media about slight injury problems and preparations in front of this year, and we need to touch about that topic for tomorrow.
Yes, my preparations hasn't been as good as I hoped. It has been some big problems the last 3 weeks. It started on a training 3 weeks ago. It started to hurt in my right leg. And I thought that it's maybe 1 or 2 days it's going to be good, but it continued for 3 or 4 or 5 days, and I started to do some cycling and tried to run a little bit more, but it came back. And then I cycling more and tried to run again, and then it came back. For the last week I just been cycling, so for the last 3 weeks I just been running maybe 35k, so it's not much of running.
No, but then you really have some case to move up for this week's training tomorrow, and you will probably get 90k of good trainings tomorrow. Of course, it will be always interesting. We'll see some magic things from you during the years in the Vasaloppet arena, and hopefully we'll see the same thing tomorrow. So let's see. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Move on actually to Steve Way. Steve, you were not here last year, but the first year you was here, and you were really challenging Jonas with your road shoes. Always the shoe question. What about tomorrow?
I've still got the same shoe question. I'm still undecided. So the first year it was pretty wet underfoot. You'd had quite a bit of rain building up in that summer, hadn't you? I think. And
it's much drier this year.
Yeah. So I was coming from a road background. I only feel comfortable in road shoes, and I've never really found a pair of trail shoes that I actually enjoy running in. So where possible, I always wear road shoes. So I always have this dilemma. So I do have a pair of trail shoes, but I was hoping you'd have no rain at all today. And I'm still probably going to go for the road shoes tomorrow, I think. Even though I fell over once in 2014. But it wasn't anything serious. I think the point at which I fell over was just as John Henry overtook me briefly. He took second place off me as I fell over. and then I had to gain that position back a bit later in the race.
Okay, but as you were here 2 years ago, you had a riders list. You have actually two things to say that I will come back for the third edition, but you need to get rid of that swamp after Evertsberg.
Which you've done.
That's done.
But now you've put in more trail, more technical trail, which I'm taking as a personal insult to me. You know I don't like it, and you've just stuck it in there just to wind me up, haven't you? I know.
Absolutely, we had you in your mind when we changed the course for sure.
Now I was thinking I've just got to get through this 10k. I've just got to get through this 10, and now it's I've got to get through this 15k.
Yeah, but you know it's a fast course now.
Yeah.
After Evertsberg. And the other thing was also that don't mention the European qualifiers and the European Championship in Iceland, and we will not mention that one when it comes to football.
Good move.
Okay, going on from last time you were here, you were actually coming from a 2:15 in Commonwealth Games. I think it was in Glasgow, Edinburgh, maybe.
Yeah, probably my best ever performance, I would say. So I did have a little bit of an excuse then because
but it was quite close to Ultravasan.
Yeah, I wasn't quite recovered, and I think I made the big mistake in 2014 of pushing on at Evertsberg to try and get the sprint bonus off Jonas, which he as he let me go and have it, he probably had the biggest smile on his face you've ever seen, as he thought, "You stupid boy."
But you can have excuse because you ran the race the first year. No one knew anything about it. But Max King last year did the same mistake, even if he didn't know what you had done the year before.
I really should have given him a quick tip on that one, shouldn't I? I should have sent him a tweet or something. Yeah. But I think that was quite amusing. The race pretty much, by the looks of it, panned out exactly the same both years. So
it's been very similar races to these 2 years. And about coming back to the race tactics, what do you think about the race tomorrow?
Well, I'll do exactly the same thing, obviously. I think all of the men's field are probably aware of those two tactical mistakes in the first 2 years. Yeah. So I'd be very surprised if the same thing happens again. I'll be quite disappointed if I do the same thing. And I think my wife Sarah will be quite disappointed as well. But yeah, so perhaps a slightly more strategic effort on the run. I'm looking forward to it because obviously I am coming into this race fresher. It has been a target race for me this year rather than in 2014 when it was it was meant to be a target race in 2014 and then I accidentally qualified for the Commonwealth Games, so I ended up having to do both together. So I'm looking forward to going into the race this time, having it as a proper target race. So.
We know that you did a London Marathon, you did the Wings for Life, you win the Wings for Life in the UK, and now, as I understand, you have been preparing since then. It was mid of May until today. Yeah, that's right.
Unfortunately, the Wings for Life, I had big plans to try and compete on the world positioning, and we came from a British weather of sort of 10 degrees centigrade, and then all of a sudden on race day it suddenly went up to 30 degrees, and I didn't change my race plan, and because I still wanted to try and compete. I knew that I had to do over 80k if I wanted the Wings for Life if I was going to compete on a world level. So I went out at the pace that I was planning on and had one of the worst race experiences ever towards the end of that, as I struggled in the British summer heat.
But then you get a ticket for another race over the world next year.
Yes,
so
I haven't decided yet.
That was a goal for you, maybe.
That's a good prize if anybody is thinking of doing it.
It will be nice to see you tomorrow, Steve. It will be really interesting to see what you can do on the track.
Me too. I'm interested.
Thanks. Going on to Geoff.
Yeah. Thank you.
Geoff is actually the world best performer on the 100k road this year with 6:30, actually 6:31 maybe I heard something, 6:30 something.
37.
6:30, yeah. Amazing performance by Geoff, and actually before that, I didn't knew anything actually about you. You took the championship in the US with that time. And then you moved into the selection for the World Championships later on for USA this year on the 100k road in Spain. But as I didn't know anything about you before this amazing performance. And I would also make a note here that you passed the 50K mark in 3 hours, 2 minutes.
3 hours, 4 minutes.
4 minutes, but that's still
with a nature call.
Amazing. But tell me a little bit about who you are, where you come from, and background.
So I'm from Michigan in the U.S. My running background, I ran for a little bit in the collegiate system for the University of Michigan, and then didn't have any spectacular performances really, but really excelled and kind of thrived at higher volumes of training. Then took a little bit of time away from competitive racing, about 2 years after college. Then started training a lot and just started experimenting with longer distance races. Started with a trail 25K, kind of in the mountains out in California. That went really well. Tried a couple half marathons and finished them feeling like had a lot more in the tank. And then kind of on a whim, I had a friend who won the US 50K national championships on the road. We had been training together a lot and just rolling on some really long runs. And he said, "You'd be pretty good at ultra marathons. You should give this a shot." And I took his word for it and kind of on a whim signed up for a 50K in Madison, Wisconsin, the same race the year before, and ran well and set the course record over 50 kilometers, and then qualified for the Doha 50-kilometer World Championships. And so I ran that in December and ran some road marathons in there as well to kind of have some fun. And all the while had that kind of like sneaking suspicion, like I think I can go longer. Unfortunately, I think I'd be better at going longer. So I took the dive. I knew for a while I was going to target the 100K that next year, so I prepared for it and went after it.
Interesting story. Of course, your performances has been quite amazing. And can you tell us a little bit about your build-up in front of the race, and also how it will be to compete? Because a lot of these guys might be the strongest competitors in the world champs later on the 100K.
Right. Yeah. So my build-up has been good. I did just a lot of high volume training over the summer. Not terribly different than what I did for Mad City, but got on. Didn't focus too much on getting on trails and whatnot because I knew I probably wouldn't be able to simulate whatever I was going to see over here. But just ran a lot of miles, mixing in some fartlek and whatnot, and I knew, from when you first reached out and you told me who the field was, that it was going to be quite spectacular. And that's why I wanted to come over, because I knew it was going to be first shot to see some of the guys that would be racing there, but in a slightly different arena. It's on the trails, not, grueling mountainous, but again, slightly different. And yeah, it was going to be just a nice mix of great competitors from Steve, Jonas, and the rest of the bunch. So it was going to be fun to kind of come to his backyard and see, see where he plays.
Thank you, Geoff. It will be very interesting to see you tomorrow. Okay, let's move on to Roman Ryapolov. Roman, you were the winner of the first edition of the Ultravasan 45K, and last year you were second after Fritiof Fagerlund. And now you've been in preparation for the third edition. And tell me a little bit about your preparations and about the race for tomorrow.
Yes, I lost the crowns last year, so I really want to take it again. And I made some extra marathons, because the first Ultravasa was my first marathon. So that's my beginning. And I was competing here in Dalarna, ran some races, and also orienteering competition. This is my preparation.
Yeah, and we know you as a really top performer in orienteering, actually a really world-class orienteer for Team Russia over the years. And You're also competing for the local club here, IFK Mora, in the orienteering, and you have done some extraordinary performances, both individual and the relays. But we have also seen your competencies in different running races, both on road. You won a half marathon a couple of weeks ago, and you did very good trail runs this year in shorter distances, and you did the Eco Trail 45 in Oslo in May, and then you will finish second after Tom Erik Halvorsen from Norway, which is also here this year to run the 45K, which is a really good field of runners. And Tom Erik might be one of the strongest runners to fight against tomorrow, to run together with in the trek. Are you going to do some changes in ultra or from Eco Trail in Oslo?
Oh, of course, I would like to have a revanche. So we will see tomorrow. It's a very interesting race tomorrow.
I agree. We will see a really interesting race. It's not just in the men's or in the women's 90K. It will also be in the 45K distances. Really, really interesting races, as Roman says. So looking forward to tomorrow. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Vasalopps-TV presenteras av Volvo, Stadium, Preem, Idre Fjäll,